What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Twin Wrestle Pod. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Hey, listen. So, let's get on to this AEW Full Gear review, shall we? This show, this show went okay. It went to about. It ended at actually a decent time, but this show felt like it dragged a little bit, even though it's like fast-paced action. What I always say about AEW pay-per-views, they don't miss the mark, okay? They always gonna have great matches, which we had a ton of during this pay-per-view. But the majority of the time, they lack some sort of story, and some sort of matches don't belong on a card or shouldn't have to be inserted or just ushered into the cards to stuff everybody on these pay-per-views as much as possible, because you're gonna get the same outcome regardless. You're gonna get a banger pay-per-view, right? And other matches that have more time, and you won't have to rush through everything. That's the thing I'm starting to notice with some of these AEW pay-per-views, is they rush through a lot of shit. Like you know, if you normally get like a blood feud or grudge matches, we had some during the show, and we'll touch on those. We had a few grudge matches, but you don't really get to tell like the true story of those matches through video packages, because those video packages only last for about 25 to 30 seconds, like roughly. And these probably be big marquee matches that the pay-per-view is marketed around, you know. Granted, most of the hardcore fans know what the story is when it comes to those matches, but the casual fans who are tuning in wouldn't know, right? You wouldn't really know. So that's an issue that keeps reoccurring with these AEW reviews. They rush to get everything in within a time slot and a time frame they have for the pay-per-view. But nonetheless, this was a good show. Tons of good matches. Not that best pay-per-view they had this year. I think probably All In is definitely top 3 this year so far, pay-per-views they've had. Dynasty was one as well. Forbidden Door was definitely one. So I would think those probably be the top 3. Now, matter of fact, I'm gonna throw I'll throw Dynasty out, and I'll put Revolution, Steen's retirement. Those are like their top 3 in my opinion, pay-per-views this year. So let's get on to AEW Full Gear. Let me get this out the way. I did not watch the 0 hour kickoff show. I was busy doing other things. I was busy driving and being on transit to my destination toward my brother's house. So by the time I got there, the 0 hour kickoff show was over. I wasn't interested in any matches anyway, but I've heard that the Bit Boom AJ and Bit Justice and the Riddler got hell of a reaction. So it's a good thing. And I saw a clip surface on Twitter yesterday when I was like on my way to my brother's house. And this Riddler kid, you can tell, like when he was making his entrance, he was a little emotional, you know. I like to see that, man. Just for a little kid like that, I would love to have an experience like me. The kid me would love to have an experience like that. To be at a pay-per-view, a wrestling pay-per-view, you know what I'm saying, walking down that ramp. So I can imagine what was going through his mind. So big ups to them, man, for that, man. Anytime I can see something like that, a kid being able to be on a platform like wrestling at a very young age, you never know what can happen. That might spark something in him to become a wrestler in the future one day. You never know. But I can tell just based on the emotion from his face. So I love to see that stuff. That's the gist I get from the 0 hour kickoff show. We had Anna Jay versus the virtuoso Deonna Purrazzo. Now, when I do my predictions, I had Deonna Purrazzo winning, but she lost to Anna Jay, which I thought was kind of puzzling because, okay, perspective being what it is, right? Who's the bigger star of the two? Deonna Purrazzo was the shit in Impact. Former Knockouts Impact champion. Anna Jay hasn't done nothing in the 5 to 6 years she's been with AEW. So it's like, for her to go out there and beat Deonna Purrazzo, you know, matter of fact, after I finish this recording, I'm going to go watch the 0 hour kickoff show because I want to see how this match developed and how was the outcome. Because I see Taya Valkyrie is out here. Did she play a factor in Deonna Purrazzo losing? Because I can't rationalize in my mind that Deonna Purrazzo lost to Anna Jay. Ain't no way. But that's what happened. Deonna Purrazzo won. I mean, she lost to Anna Jay. 4-way match. I predicted that right. I don't know if you've been living under a rock. There ain't no way you predicted this match wrong. Buddy Matthews beat these guys. Like I told you guys in the prediction show, he's on a bigger level than any of these guys in this ring. Commander can't touch him. The Beast Mortos definitely is not touching him. And Dante Morton, not touching him. Come on, man. Buddy Matthews, one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's not losing this match. So he beat those guys. And Big Boom AJ, obviously you saw that coming. Social media star, get more eyes on a product for AEW and a good win for AEW. I heard a video clip had 11 million views, so that's good for AEW to get more exposure to their wrestling product. So that's good. And he wasn't going to lose this match, not the fucking QT Marshall. QT Marshall hasn't won. I can't even tell you the last match he won, even if he ever won a match actually. So that was no surprise there. And ahead of the curve, my guy. I know you commented and said you gonna keep me up to those predictions, okay? I almost had a perfect 9-0, but AEW did some things I didn't expect them to do during this card. I went 7-2, okay? So I gotta win a record. Right now I'll be in the playoffs right now, right? I'll be division leader, so I got a good 7-2. Almost at a 9-0, but they tricked me. We'll get to those. All right, let's start on the main event of this card. Well, not main event, but the beginning of this card. We had the Fatal 4-Way AEW World Tag Team Championship match with Private Party defending their championships against the Kings of the Black Throne. That's what they call him, Aleister and Brody King. I keep calling him Aleister, but Malachi and Brody King. They call them the Kings of the Black Throne. The Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd, and the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. What I told you guys in the prediction video, right? It went the exact way I told you that it was going to go. Somebody from the Acclaim was going to eat the pinfall, and it ended up being Max Caster. Max Caster, like I told you guys, his mannerisms at this point is now becoming of a heel. I thought it was going to be a turn, but they start booking this type of stuff within the match. You can see the tension between him and Bowens. Bowens not liking the antics that Max Caster is doing. Like at a point in time, the fans were actually giving it to Max Caster, telling him like, "Fuck you, Caster." They kept screaming that throughout the arena. He gave him the double birds back, and him and Bowens were doing that back and forth because this is Bowens' hometown. So it's like Bowens was shooting him a look like, "Cut the shit! Like what you doing?" Like. You know what I'm saying? So these two will break up sooner rather than later, man. So it's on the way. Let me slide this camera. It's on the way. These two are about to break up pretty soon. Max Caster ate the pin. Private Party retained the championship. This was a match that I felt like didn't need to be on the card, but I understand why they did it because it's a tag team championship match, right? You got to get the tag teams in there. Tony Khan, Sting, let's usher anything. Let's usher as much people on this card as we can. But Private Party was not losing this match at all. So it wasn't no surprise to me there. Then next up we had MJF taking on Roderick Strong. And this matchup was underwhelming to me. If I was booking it, right, I wouldn't book the actual match. This was an actual match. I would have booked it to where MJF just went out there. This is one of the matches you could have cut time and built more heat on MJF. You would have accomplished multiple things. The crowd would have still been able to see MJF make an entrance. Still would have been seen MJF perform, right? But they also would have been able to see MJF's sadistic side. Like he showed back in, I think in the summertime when, after All Out, right? After All In, going towards All Out, when he bloodied Daniel Garcia, we didn't know what his contract situation was. Stuff like that. Like, I would have booked this match soon as Roderick Strong made his entrance, MJF attack him off the bat. That's what I would have did. And just beat the holy shit out of Roderick Strong. To send a message to Adam Cole and to get more blood and more intrigue back into the storyline, because all the juice has been sucked out of the storyline now, because they missed a lot. With Adam Cole been hurt for a year and some change, MJF been hurt for 5 to 6 months. They missed a lot of juice in this program between him and Adam Cole. So I would have booked this entirely differently. They booked it as a regular match, and I felt it was underwhelming and a letdown for the finish. MJF beat him with an arm submission. I don't know what he calls it, but he beat him with an arm submission, and then after the matchup, he got a steel chair and put the steel chair on Roderick Strong's arm and stomped on it. I felt that was kind of fucking weak, man. Me booking it, I would have done it so much more better than that. Like I said, MJF would have brutalized fucking Roderick Strong, because Roderick Strong, he's a great wrestler, but he ain't on the level of MJF, bro. I would have had MJF just fucking doing it and wreck him. Then you would have got the same result that you did with the Undisputed Kingdom running out there to run MJF off. Everybody coming out there and pushing Adam Cole, telling him to go after MJF. You get that same type of result that you got in this match if you would have just booked it this way and saved time on other matches throughout the card. I'm a big proponent of less is more. You will hear Undertaker say it. You hear all these veterans say it. Less is more. It's little things in wrestling that can go such a long way. And I felt like MJF brutalizing Roderick Strong in that type of way would have been huge in terms of the feud between him and Adam Cole. We'll see where it goes on Dynamite, but it don't have that much juice, man, because Adam Cole, like, he gets reactions, but not that much. So MJF beat Roderick Strong, was no surprise there. So at this point in the night, I'm fucking 2-0, sitting at 2-0. We sitting good, right? Next matchup, we have the TBS Championship with Mercedes MONE defending her TBS Championship against Chris Statlander. This is yet another match I didn't really care for, such as the MJF and Roderick Strong. I didn't care for none of those matches, right? But this match here with Mercedes and Chris Statlander was awesome. Like, when it comes to talent in the ring, Mercedes is far and few between, right? Same with Chris Statlander. They both can work, so I'm not surprised they had a great matchup. We didn't see Chris Statlander have a great matchup with Willow at All Out. Not surprising. The story was weak. I didn't like the fact that Chris Statlander just happened to be a babyface out of nowhere, then automatically just drove straight from Mercedes. I didn't like that. I was not a fan of that. I made my emotions clear on that fact. But these two had a wonderful match, awesome match. This is definitely one of the matches to see if you were to buy that pay-per-view. Mercedes won. She was not going to lose to Chris Statlander, no matter how much they built Chris Statlander and how much she got momentum up to this point. She beat Camille. She's just been making Camille look like a goofball, along with Mercedes MONE at the same time. She just beat GARCIA on Dynamite, so she's been on a roll at this point. She was not going to beat Mercedes MONE, and Mercedes MONE beat her by she's working over the leg in the match, and she bit Chris Statlander in the knee, kind of like the thigh area, but she reversed it into that money maker finish, and she pinned Chris Statlander for the win and retained their championship. We'll see where Mercedes MONE goes after this. Who's her next challenger? The pickings looking very slim. There ain't nobody else in that division really who can challenge her for the championship. So we'll see where they go with this, and what's next for Chris Statlander as well. All right, our next matchup we have is Switchblade Jay White taking on Hangman Adam Page. This is where my win streak, my predict streak, came to an end. I actually had Adam Hangman Page winning this matchup, but they had Jay White pick up the win over Hangman, which I was kind of surprised since Jay White already beat him at Wrestle Dream, man. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted in seeing where they're trying to go with Hangman. But I guess toward the end of the night, even though it was confusing after the main event, we'll get to that. Where they trying to go with both Jay White and Hangman. But this is a very good match. At this point in the show, this is where the action started picking up. After Chris Statlander and them, Hangman and Jay White killed it as well. Perfect counter in this match for Jay White to pick up the win with the Switchblade. He did I think Hangman tried to go for the fuck is this clothesline? I'm drawing a blank. I'm Tried to go for his clothesline. I can't remember the name of it at this point. But he tried to go for his clothesline. And Jay White switched it into the switchblade. Awesome. That counter looked just so seamless, bro. I was like, damn. I didn't even care that fucking Hangman lost that match at all. But after the match, Hangman attacked Jay White with a steel chair on the stage, and then Christopher Daniels came out there. Yeah, Dada. He tried to hit him. He tried to hit him with the lariat. And Christopher Daniels came out on the stage, was holding Hangman back, and Hangman ended up swinging on Christopher Daniels and knocking him down. Christopher Daniels took like a legit bump. It looks like to me, like he fucking hit his head on the stage. He had to do something because that shit was way too damn hard. But they made a note of commentary that, especially Excalibur made a note of commentary that Hangman could be possibly fined or suspended for putting his hands on an official. So we'll see where it goes, man. But that didn't make sense once we get toward the end of the night. So we'll get to there. We're almost there. But Jay White defeated Hangman. So at this point, my streak was over. Then our next matchup, we had Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher. And this match was a banger. I mean, like, are people surprised based on who in this match? Will Ospreay is fucking Will Ospreay, the best wrestler in the world, is in this match. So it's no surprise that this match was awesome. I'm not going to recount everything in this match, man. You have to go out and watch this match. This is yet another match that you have to go out to see. Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay go way back. So they know each other at the back of their hand, both in United Empire. So they know each other like this, man. This is a good feud, good story between these two. And I think this story is not over. The right outcome was made. I picked Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle Fletcher went over. I told you guys what the positives were. Positives were you make another star in Kyle Fletcher. You get a credible win over Will Ospreay. That's one of the most credible wins you can get in AEW, right? Will Ospreay do not lose anything by losing to Kyle Fletcher. Okay? Will Ospreay is going to be Will Ospreay at the end of the day. So he doesn't lose anything. Big ups to Tony Khan for booking this the right way. The right guy went over. And we have, and I don't even think Mark Davis came out for the outcome. So I think he just beat Will Ospreay straight up. So great move and great way to book this. Awesome. Great way to finish it. So at this point, we like 5-1, I think. Then we had the championship champagne segment with Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. Didn't watch this segment. From what I've seen on Twitter, it was kind of fucking awkward. They went out there, toasted with champagne, and then Mariah tried to swing on Mina, but Mina ducked it, and she speared Mariah through the tables on the side of the ramp. Did we need this on Full Gear? No, because at this point it's kind of late. But I understand they had to wait for Mina Shirakawa to get back over to the U.S. because she's been over in Japan for a while. But did we need this on the show? Nah, this could have been done on actually like a Dynamite, or possibly. No, I would save it for Dynamite, just out of respect for both Mariah and Mina. But we didn't need this on Full Gear. So obviously this is going to be the next program for both Mariah and Mina. We knew it was going to head here because Mariah's championship reign has been dormant since she beat Toni Storm. She has had no notable contenders, which is mind blowing to me. But this is her first like Uber test with Mina Shirakawa. So looking forward to that. Then after that, we had the TNT Championship matchup with Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia. This is where yet another my predictions that fell off. I had Jack Perry retaining the championship, but he ended up losing to Daniel Garcia, which is good for Daniel Garcia, man. This is his first championship win in AEW. Not to say he didn't work for it. He worked his ass out for it. Cause remember when he first got to AEW, man, we wanted to see him face Brian Danielson, excuse me. We thought his program with Chris Jericho was going to lead to him winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. They just dropped it and did nothing with it. Then he was floundering for so long. And then all it had to take was for him to negotiate his contract and see what he wanted to decide to do, whether to go to WWE, NXT, or stay with AEW. I guess when he stayed with AEW, they decided to put the championship on him. So big ups to him. Good match between the two. The crowd was kind of flat for the match as well. They didn't get no reaction as much. But I can't say I blame people, honestly, because this match really had no heat. Like, they really weren't getting the reactions at all, like, throughout their build. They had that one weird segment on Dynamite where they had some cool segments. Don't get me wrong. The cool segment when Daniel Garcia kidnapped with Daddy Magic kidnapped Jack Perry and chained him on the hood of that scapegoat bus was pretty cool. I like that. That was pretty cool. It's different. I liked that. But the segment when they had him tied in a barn and he spit in Daniel Garcia's face, wasn't really a fan of that segment, honestly. So I don't really blame people for not reacting as much, but they definitely reacted to the pin, and Daniel Garcia picked up the win. The reason I didn't have Jack Perry losing the championship is because the Bucks just lost their championship at the Halloween edition of Dynamite, literally like 3 weeks ago against Private Party. And this group is losing steam, man. Only one that's keeping it afloat really is Okada, and we haven't really seen that much of Okada. I don't know why, but we haven't seen that much of Okada at all. So he's the only one really keeping this group afloat. And I felt like with the Bucks losing the championships, Jack Perry shouldn't lose his championship this quick, but he lost it. So there's that. Wonder where they're going to go with both guys. Daniel Garcia is the champ now. See what he's going to do, man, with the championship. This is his first championship win. So interested to see where it goes. But good win for Daniel Garcia. Next up, we had the International Championship with Konosuke Takeshita defending his championship against Ricochet. Great match. You know what you're going to get between both Ricochet and Takeshita. I don't have to sell you on this match. This is yet another match you have to go out and watch yourself, because we got two great wrestlers in the ring. Kind of similar to how we had with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher earlier on. We know what to expect from both Takeshita and Ricochet, a banger match. Needless to say, man, I don't need to say too much more about this match, but Ricochet was not going to beat Takeshita in this situation at all. Okay, I think this Takeshita's maybe his, from what I've seen, it's probably his first title defense. He was not going to lose his championship at all, no time soon. And Ricochet, he gets great reactions, but he's going to be thrust in the same position he was in WWE, unfortunately, where he's going to be in the midst for these mid-card championships, and eventually he's going to win one. Whether it's TNT, whether it's International Championship, Continental Championship, the works. Ricochet's going to win one of these championships one of these days, so it's just a matter of time. But we know what to expect when it comes to Ricochet, man. So not surprised he didn't beat Takeshita here. At this point, we were sitting at what, like 7-1? No, we was probably sitting at 6-1 at this point. I believe we're 5-1, something like that. 5-2. We sitting at this point. Next matchup we had was the Hurt Syndicate's Bobby Lashley taking on Swerve Strickland. Bobby Lashley defeated Swerve in this, which is the right outcome, which is supposed to happen. Bobby Lashley was not going to lose his first matchup. They had some great spots in this match. That's particularly the same spot Swerve did to Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door when he did a double stump through the announce table. He did that same spot to Bobby Lashley here. And I like the way Bobby Lashley went through the table. Like, the table was just kind of delayed once Swerve stomped on it, and then Lashley just flopped through the table. So that was pretty cool. Shelton Benjamin got involved early, and then the ref threw him out of the ring and told him to go back to the back. But this is your typical Bobby Lashley match, man. Like, showcasing his strength, man. Like, Swerve ain't got this, you know what I mean, the power to do nothing with Lashley. So this wasn't no surprise here. I'm interested to see where they go after this. I would love for Lashley to be thrust into that main event championship scene, but it seems like they get occupied with a lot of shit once we get to this next matchup. But Bobby Lashley, right guy went over, right guy won. Swerve don't lose anything by losing to Lashley. He put up a valiant effort against the almighty Bobby Lashley. But this is a good match. I enjoyed this match as well. Swerve and Bobby Lashley had a really good match, but Bobby Lashley picked up the win, which no outcome should have been different from there. So enjoyed that match. Now on to our main event. The Death Riders, Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion, defending his AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. I really wasn't interested in this match, man. I just didn't like the build, right? I didn't take Orange Cassidy serious as the savior of AEW. Just how they was booking it, man. Like, And once that segment where Moxley brought out Chuck Taylor, right? I meant to make a video on this. I still might, man. But it's like, okay. He stomps on Chuck Taylor's neck on the chair, right? That brings out Orange Cassidy. But where the fuck was Trent Beretta? This is one guy that I want to know what happened to him. He's part of the Don Callis family, but you don't see him as all. I'll say that for the separate video, but it just didn't make storyline sense. I know what they was doing, but Orange Cassidy wasn't Chuck Taylor's only friend. Just saying. But this whole storyline, I don't take Orange Cassidy as the actual savior for AEW. Okay, so that's why I didn't really pay too much mind or attention to this matchup. I just wasn't interested, and I knew Moxley was not losing the championship to him. Moxley just won that Wrestle Dream last month. He's not going to lose the title to him. If anybody's close to him losing the championship too, it'd be Darby Allin, which we'll get to that towards the end of this match. The finish of this match, lackluster. Wheeler Yuta came out there and hit the Busaiku knee to Orange Cassidy, and Moxley ended up hitting the Death Rider to Orange Cassidy and picking up the win. So after that win, a lot of weird shit happened, which I did not like particularly at all at the end of this pay-per-view. I was interested though. I was interested. You had Hangman Adam Page come out there after Wheeler Yuta and Moxley were putting some sort of liquid, like rubbing alcohol or something probably, on Orange Cassidy's face. Then Hangman came out there. He hit Wheeler Yuta with the chair, and then him and Moxley had a stare down for a minute, and then the fans were starting to rise. So I wonder what they was doing with it. Like, damn, this is like a person you can see who would be the actual savior of AEW. Hangman fits that criteria. He's a former AEW World Champion. He's an AEW original. Orange Cassidy is an original to an extent, but not to the extent that Adam Page was an original. Okay? He was different from the very beginning. So you can take them serious as the actual savior for AEW. So I enjoyed that. I was like, okay, I'm intrigued, right? And then they hit us with another one. Christian came out there, hit Moxley with the Unprettier, and then him and Hangman had a glance. And if you was able to read lips, Christian told Hangman, I'll give you a shot at the championship when I win it. And I was like, okay, damn, I'm more intrigued because Christian, this is opportunity to cash in his contract to get a championship match. All he gotta do is sign the contract. That's what they said on the commentary. It's like, okay, all he gotta do is sign the contract. But then he was taking so fucking long to do so. Then Jay White came out there and hit Christian with a chair. He might hit him with a chair or the switchblade. And then that allowed Moxley to scurry out of the ring and then go to the back. Just the way they ended this pay-per-view was just kind of fucking weird, man. So I was confused. Like, okay, so Hangman come out there, Christian come out there. We know why Christian's out there. He has the championship match, like the actual shot at the title. And then Jay White comes out there. I'm like, okay, why is Jay White and Hangman? But it made sense for Hangman to come out there because he's in cahoots with Christian to get a championship matchup. So Jay White's plan to stop that and help Moxley retain the championship? So it's a lot of answers, a lot of questions need to be answered come on Dynamite. We had to see where Jay White's purpose of doing that was. Was that just to stop Hangman and Christian from capturing the championship or what? We had to see what his reasoning for doing that was. But after that, after everything dispersed, we got like a backstage shot of the Death Riders leaving, trying to go to that truck that they always leave at every show, the pickup truck. But out of nowhere, we had this car comes flying through and it crashes through the Death Riders truck. And you can tell by the makeup and the spray paint on a car who it was. But they weren't trying to show who it was, so the Death Riders started fingering with some more keys for another car, so they got into another, like a SUV and like an Escalade, like a white Escalade or something, and drove off. And then the camera pans around, and it's Darby Allin, and he tells Moxley, come on, like, let's do this. Let's end this shit. I think that's what he said. And then the show fades to black. He has like blood on his face from the crash and everything. One thing about Darby, man, Darby gonna live life, bro. He gonna take any and every chance he can to make a moment, no matter the cost of his body. I think he's a proponent of this life is temporary. Like once you drown your soul, leave somewhere else. Darby is a living testimony to that. So obviously we're going toward the route of Darby versus Moxley, whether it's at World's End or not. I expect Darby to pick up the win and become the new AEW World Champion. Now, how long he's gonna hold that championship, I don't know. And yeah, guys like Bobby Lashley should be in this conversation for sure. Christian will be in this conversation for sure. Hangman, Jay White threw his head in there. Swerve still in there. So they still got a lot of top guys in this division to go for that championship. But they can't. They got the ability to tell the perfect story if Darby were to beat Moxley for that championship. So we'll see, man. But that ending kind of left me like with more questions than answers. We know the next feud got to be Moxley and Darby, but where does Jay White factor? Christian, Hangman. We need to find these answers come on Dynamite. So that was AEW Full Gear. Overall, like I told you, I went 7-2 in my predictions for ahead of the curve, just so you know. But this was a good show. I wouldn't say it's the greatest show, like I said, stated at the beginning, but it was a good show nonetheless. Only matches you really have to go out to see though are OSPREAY, FLETCHER, MONE, Chris Statlander, Jay White and Hangman. I like Bobby Lashley and Swerve. I like their match was pretty good. And TAKESHITA and Ricochet. Only matches you really need to see when watching this show. But if you guys made it this long, make sure to hit that subscribe, that thumbs up down below for me. And doing that stuff, man, allows the channel to reach other people, bro. And I didn't want to keep y'all here this long. We already going on close to 32 minutes, so I'm gonna end it here. But y'all made it this far. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Y'all take care and mark in the comments what y'all thought about the pay-per-view. And I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Y'all take care. Peace out.